Hi, this is the sword, the crown, and the unspeakable power, the blood on our hands, or the Scuppy adventures of the dark and sexy gauntlet, whatever you want to call it. Um, this is the first session, so we're gonna start with cats, concept, aim, tone, and subject matter. Concept: it's dark political fantasy, kind of like Game of Thrones, powered by the apocalypse. If you signed up for this game, you probably know what this is about. Aim, we will be, I guess, the aim will be to tell a story, as always, uh, but also play to find out what happens because this is PBTA. And honestly, I have no idea what happens right now. I haven't planned anything because I tend to not plan anything. Tone, we can have a conversation about tone, but I'm expecting dark, hence, and sexy and stuff like that. We can, in subject matter, we will have this discussion right now. So, um, I personally don't have any lines or veils. Are you all familiar with lines and veils? I'm guessing Agatha is because I get okay. Yes, I got that message from in chat. So yeah, any lines and veils you wanna put up, I will make a tab specifically for this in the character keeper, so we can have lines and veils ready and set up. So you don't have to say it out loud. Just okay, we have a line already. Uh, no sexual assault. Other than that, any lines or veils?
I think I'll put it. I'll just put it in the.
Yeah, that's fine. Just as long as it's somewhere, it'll be fine. We also have the X card, so just type, cross your arms, cross your fingers, or type X. Say X if something makes you uncomfortable in an unfun way. Because we all know, I think we've all played enough Gauntlet games to know how the X card works. So, uh, anything we want to clarify about tone or subject matter before we move on to mythology creation? I know, I guess I wanted when we were talking about this game idea, because this is kind of collab, kind of not. It's just me GMing, but I was like, "Hey, Agatha, do you want to play?" And she was like, "Yes." She wanted a non-Eurocentric game because it makes sense. There's a lot of Eurocentric games out there. It makes sense to not have another one of those. So, do you guys have any ideas? Do we want to just go with Agatha and let her do whatever? Oh, and
Yeah.
apparently she forgot. Okay.
Yeah, even if she forgot, I was gonna bring that up because when you think dark political fantasy, obviously people think Game of Thrones, but shitty people exist all over the world. We don't have to have it in a castle with fucking Anglo-Saxon culture uh, running over us. Just I would like to play this kind of game. Maybe not in where forests are about, or or that sort of scenery. I live in Ireland. I see enough of that.
I mean, to be fair, the Beyond the Wall game everyone's gay, but it was still kind of Anglo-Saxon. What?
Yeah, yeah. Whatever. That was then. This is now.
I know, right? I mean, that was a good game. I would recommend everyone watching it when they can. It was Richard Wren who ran that. It was good. And also, since we are talking about Richard Rain running stuff, as of right now, I believe the Codex Kickstarter, which is up and funded, yay! It is currently he's one of the GMs that hasn't been taken already. So if any of our total of 0 viewers would like to jump in on that one, I totally recommend it. So that's the headline. So yeah, let's go, I guess, to mythology creation, where we can establish more about what we want the tone on and general culture like thing, maybe equivalent, maybe not, to be. Um. So yeah, we can talk about it, and there are some fill in the blanks in there, but generally speaking, we can just have a discussion about first the type of like the type of mythology we want. So anyone have any ideas?
So I'm thinking if forests are being vetoed, then it seems like the obvious direction to go is a desert kind of scenario.
An
or
ice
environment to be in.
desert.
Ooh, ice desert.
Right? Ice desert works too, yeah.
So, like,
I guess that would be a
so,
tundra.
Yeah,
Oh, no,
exactly,
no, no, no,
tundra.
no. Well, actually, it's like it's like well, it's kind of like Game of Thrones at that point with the giant fucking wall, right? And the other side where it's just ice, right? Or winter is coming and whatever. But we can do ice tundra. We can do a tundra.
I'm just throwing it out there. It actually doesn't matter.
So is this like on the mythology sheet on the keeper?
No, we're just throwing things out there for now.
Just kind of like the premise of the world in a way.
Yeah.
Okay.
The mythology sheet is something that we on each of the boxes there are 6 options, and we either roll 1d6 or we decide which of the 6 options we want to use. But right now we're just having a conversation on like the general stuff, like the world.
I'm down for any stripe of desert. Ice, fire.
What if it's
grass.
both?
No, that's not a desert.
What if it's like
Why
I like
not
the
both?
idea- I like the why not both? Like maybe there's like a like mountain ridge that like separates like tundra and like sandy desert or something.
Or so another idea is, because we're going away from Game of Thrones. So Game of Thrones is winter is coming. So what if it's like the glaciers are retreating and we're like moving into the tundra that's left, but there's like methane that's like has been trapped underground that's escaping, kind of like what is kind of happening in Siberia now. But then that's like catching on fire. So we're in this like tundra that's susceptible to like bursts of fire. I don't know if that's too
Extreme
weird.
climate change. I like that.
That sounds sick.
I'm down for that.
Metal.
Yeah, that sounds.
And like because there's so much gas in the air, it's like we don't actually know if it's just us being delusional or if there actually is like supernatural stuff going on.
Well, there is supernatural stuff. Like in the time of the game, Unspeakable Power, there is freaky stuff. Like,
But is there?
In before the Unspeakable Powers used the greenhouse gases and everything.
it's just the extra methane produced by all the farming and cows we have.
All right, cool. I'm up for that. So now that we have some base premise, which is we're having climate change and shit, here is the first part of what we need to design. In the beginning, we choose one of 6. The world was pristine and unsullied. There was peace between all. We lived in harmony with nature. It was a golden age of prosperity and knowledge. Dangerous things were sealed away. Times were hard, but we got away. We got by with what we had. And I posted them in chat, so you can look at those as well.
So,
Sorry, go on.
so we're supposed to choose one of these?
Yeah, as a group. And then this would go in like in the beginning part of myth, and then we go to then this resulted in, and because of this until and now.
Okay.
It's like Mad Libs.
Yeah, pretty much. It's Mad Libs to create the setting. Except you have choices, not just like
Mhm.
a noun or an adverb.
Yeah, in the beginning there was bread.
I like that. I find it interesting that there's the world was pristine and unsullied, and also there's we lived in harmony with nature, because I would almost associate those with each other.
Yeah,
Maybe
they seem
the
very similar.
maybe the pristine inside is like there are no horrible human beings to ruin it.
I mean,
I feel like the we lived in harmony with nature like kind of indicates like a lifestyle almost, right? Like there was no like civilization proper. It was kind of like hunter gatherer type being with nature sort of thing. Maybe it was like tribal or something if we went with that option.
Right, which
I don't
also
know.
sounds like times were hard, but we got by with what we had. I feel like there's a lot of overlap going on.
yeah, and I think it's intentional and also like it's up to interpretation, like a lot of PBTA is.
I kind of like the dangerous things were sealed away.
Yeah, me too.
Like the methane.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Methane.
Or worse. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Or
just
worse.
like that. If we choose that, that implies that things are getting released now.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that
Alright.
one.
Cool. Then, and I will post these in chat as well. Once I get to the actual chat thing. Um, a never before seen threat arose. A new power emerged in the land. We meddled in what we should not. Rightful rule was challenged. Our ancient ways were cast aside or forgotten. Supernatural powers unleashed their wrath.
I feel like it would be more interesting if we did something that was not connected to our first point. Maybe the number 4 or number 5. Just because I feel like that might make it more dynamic, I guess. I don't know. What do you guys think?
It
Yeah,
adds
I'm down
more.
with that.
Yeah, I'm
Right.
down for that. It adds more layers to the world. Anyway.
How about like rightful rule was challenged? I like the
Yeah.
idea that there was a
Yeah.
power play.
Yeah, I agree with that one because the number 5, it's like, for me it's like too close to like actual things, like our ancient ways were forgotten. Oh wait, we just started using industrial shit, and that's why the fucking methane is on the loose. But this one, it's like it's not as obvious as to why that unleashed the supernatural bullshit that was sealed away. So this resulted in copy pasta. Divisions between people who had long been at peace, our glorious civilization quickly falling to ruin, the rightful order of things being unperturbed, poverty, famine, and plague overtaking us, wanton death stalking the land, the world crumbled as if nature turned against us.
Yeah, I don't know about you guys, but the one that I feel would be coolest would be number 4. But what do you guys think?
I really, the first thing that grabbed me was wanton death stalking the land, because
That could be
Seems like-
literal.
yeah, death could be. But I'm cool with poverty, famine, and plague as well. These two are not. They're not. I feel like they could be the same thing. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
similar. Yeah.
So just spoken out of context, I'm cool with poverty, famine, and plague.
Yeah, that works for me if that's good for everybody else.
Right.
Yeah, I'm
So I'm gonna take poverty, famine, and plague because wanton death can be a result of that. And this,
I mean, like, I feel like as far as like subject matter goes, I'm not sure I'm really in the mood for like a plague story. So I don't know about you guys.
Well, this is
I
just
would
the
prefer if
foundational.
we.
This is just a foundational myth of the past. It doesn't have to mean we're gonna be a plague-ridden the present.
Oh, okay.
It's just
Yeah.
this kind of like we're figuring out the Bible or the pastoral myth of the past.
That makes sense.
So then, like, what when you said you liked that one, were you more leaning towards the poverty and
Yeah, that's
famine?
all. That's all. Yeah, those were the ones that grabbed me. I just like the idea that they're. Well, I feel like whenever you talk about like poverty and famine, there's like it kind of establishes like a class structure in a way because there's going to be those who aren't impoverished and aren't experiencing famine, and so I don't know, like that always sounds kind of interesting to me as a premise.
All right, so we'll keep, I guess, poverty and famine and put a pin on plague, I guess. Next up is, and because of this, posting it here. There was war which none could avoid. There was chaos, confusion, and disorder. There was destruction, our greatness laid to waste. There was fear, dread, and panic. There was hatred, people were filled with enmity and rage. There was decay and desolation, the once beautiful landscape blighted.
I like number 6. Just because I like to bring the landscape into things.
Yeah, let's have like cool places to be in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like that one too.
And it makes sense with the rest of like global warming thing that we're doing. Until because this is the part where it's like this was in the past. Heroes stood mightily, scholars gained wisdom, people joined together, sorcerers tamed the unknown, the gods themselves intervened, the threat vanished mysteriously. Oh, Agatha, you were muted.
I was just making a face.
Oh, okay. Just making sure.
This one's hard.
Yeah, because because the way we implied it, it's like we didn't actually resolve the problem. We're still doing it.
What if we I feel like we have a lot of chaos, so what if we go towards something that is very ordered, right? Like something very, like, I feel like maybe number 2 would be good, like scholars gained wisdom. So I don't know, I'm imagining something like I don't know how Game of Thrones exposed you guys are, but like there's like these maesters in Game of Thrones who kind of have a heavy hand in everything going on. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I like either 2 or 4 for that kind of reason.
Yeah, like scholars, either scholars gain wisdom or sorcerers tame the unknown makes sense. Like we can trap these methane balls and put them back or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
Or,
I kind of. Oh, sorry. Were you...
Sorry. I was just gonna make a shitty joke about how you can make fireballs that way.
I kind of like, sorcerers tame the unknown. Just, I don't know. Well, actually, I don't know if I like it or not because it's so like, oh yes, like Western Enlightenment. But that's okay. We can have that.
All right, sure. Let's do that. And now, oh my God, things are back as they were, but we never forget. There is an uneasy truth. We have ensured such things will never happen again. We can never return to those innocent days. We must live our lives with constant vigilance. Ruin is all around, a constant reminder of the past.
I feel like the latter three are the more interesting ones for what we've set up.
Yeah. I think the last one makes sense if like we literally see desert, the fire desert becoming the ice, or rather the ice desert melting and the glaciers retreating. The last one actually makes sense in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah. I think I find that really dramatically satisfying as well, where it's like maybe they're just like giant um rifts almost, and then there's like fire shooting out of it. um, and yeah, and they could just be like maybe people just call them scars or something. I don't know.
All right.
Maybe there's
Yeah,
a
I
dark flaming
like that.
mountain in the distance.
Sorry. All right. Uh, and the next part is like establishing the myth, the creation myth. But so, uh, so basically, the the long story short of the creation myth is that someone was usurped, then so now we have this methane or whatever we want to call it, if we want to go with magic uh, unobtainium or whatever, being released, and there's like desolation and decay and all that stuff. There's power shifts, and then sorcerers tame the unknown, and now we have like a desert land, and well, two desert lands, but one's fire, one's ice. Do we want to do we want to name any of the important characters in the I'm sorry. I am freaking out because Agatha is freaking out. But uh, do we want to name any of the important characters in this myth creation story or whatever?
When you say characters, did you mean specifically like people or?
Yeah, because we do have the rightful rule was challenged part of it, where it's like whose rule was being challenged and why. And we don't have to answer this now. This is not like the immediately uh relevant. We can answer that in play, but like uh what happened that caused this?
Maybe the rule was maybe it was just like the monarchy or something, right? Like the crown was challenged, and maybe like there was like a revolution or something by the local lords teaming up against the crown, and I'm imagining that it just plunged everyone into chaos, and there were what's it called when they like prevent trade from happening?
Blockade.
Embargo.
Yeah.
Oh, embargo.
Yeah, those things. There were those things happening, and it caused a mess. And then
Yeah, I like that.
I'm imagining that there was maybe some migration, refugees because of this. So a lot of places kind of fell to waste. Maybe it has to do with like the dangerous stuff being sealed away as well. Like those seals were not maintained. And then we've got sorcerers. Did anyone have any ideas for how that plays out?
Actually, I have a suggestion. Could we make the lords like actually just like bandits? So they don't have any like actual, like they weren't actually in power already, but they just like rose up, and they started out like, so if you want to think like maybe Viking style could be like an inspiration, where it's like they were already raiding people because everything was like a hot mess, and then they're like, okay, but now I run this place, so this is my territory,
And now it's a hot mess, literally.
and it was like
So
really
they're like
intense warfare.
So they're like usurper bandits.
Yeah. But like a lot of them rising up. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there because I feel like if we're doing like the lords and then like the royalty, that is kind of skewing more into like kind of like Western fantasy again. So if we want to,
yeah, sure, yeah, it sounds cool to me.
We can go with that.
What do you guys think? Yeah. So
Yeah.
you're thinking just like bandit clans of some sort.
Yeah.
Maybe like, I don't know, like mercenary bandit clans or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. Does it sound cool?
Yeah, and it's just kind of throwing off this like very traditional and very set power structure. It's almost, and I love that it's mercenary because yeah, they are mercenary. They're like taking advantage of the siege, right?
Yeah. So, I'm thinking maybe the mercenaries were actually originally hired by the main leaders, right, to try to keep order as things were like changing. So like, we got to get these mercenaries in, and eventually the mercenaries were like, "Fuck it, we could take over."
And then they had to hire more mercenaries who
Right.
also like fucking will take over. So
yeah, and then maybe they like allied with each other, and then so this is like like even in like the creation myth, there was already a lot of politicking going on.
Yeah.
And we could also say that part of the reason why that everything went to shit in part number 4 was because like the leadership change wasn't smooth, so stuff got like went by the wayside. People moved around, like once that happens, like some stuff is going to be neglected.
So we need a better name for this than methane, but like the methane got released because people stopped paying attention to it, I guess. Because or maybe because the bandits didn't know that this was a thing. I'm not quite certain which way we can. What
if we call it like something more interesting than methane? Like maybe we could call it the miasma.
Oh, sure, the miasma. Okay, that's better than just calling it methane. Yes. So I'm guessing the miasma was, or like, do you think the bandits were aware that the miasma was a thing, or that they didn't know and that's why they neglected it?
I feel like this is one part where we can kind of go into, because it is like mythological and like magical. I wonder if it's just the fact that there was so much bloodshed and like innocent bloodshed, and then in the story that people would tell, it's like the blood was seeping into the ice, and then it was crying out, and then like that became the fire, and then it's like a reaction, to the folly of man or something.
All right. Cool.
Yeah, I like that as a mythological way of thinking about it.
Yeah, because
whatever
this game,
scientific explanation might really be. But.
Yeah, and because this world does have magic, like the unspeakable power is magic, so this is a way to start incorporating that. So I find it really fascinating that the magic could be like, or people's conception of it is of a wrong that was done. And that's like what fuels it, maybe. That's interesting to me.
Yeah, although like as far as like emotional spectrum goes, I don't know that I'm getting weeping from explosions of fire coming from the ice. Maybe more like rage or something.
Yeah, it's rage. It's the blood of the innocent cries out in rage. Cue more electric guitar in the background.
All right, and then the sorcerer's tame the unknown part. We might want to resolve that as well, with how did they tame the unknown, and like I'm thinking that they stop the glaciers from receding super quickly, but we will see what will happen. Or what were you guys thinking?
Sorcerer's Taming the Unknown. Maybe it's like a. Maybe they're called sorcerers, but I'm wondering if perhaps they might be more like alchemists who kind of capture the gases, and no one understands how their technology works or their processes or their maybe even their magic, but they basically are the only ones who understand like the seals and how to seal away gases, and or that like people don't even know that it's gases, right? Like they like maybe it's referred to as the miasma, but a lot of people probably view it as like magic stuff happening regardless of what it actually is. And there's just these sorcerers who can control it. I don't know. What do you all think?
I think this is a great place to ask, like, is there magic in this world? Are we saying that there is, or are we saying that there isn't?
I think there is.
Because we have playbooks that are very specifically, like, magic based.
Yeah, no, I think there is. Yeah, I mean, from what I understand, I haven't played this before, but they do reference magic explicitly, so it's not like we can really take that off the table, but there could be, like, effects that happen in the world that people maybe see as magic, but are actually not related to the actual magic or something. I don't know, but that's just
I
what
actually
my mind
really
was.
like that.
Like I was just thinking like people don't understand magic at all, and so like they call this magic, but it's not actually magic. Like magic is something else, you know. That's where I was going with like the sorcerers. Like these sorcerers are not actual, like maybe not actually, or maybe they are, but no one knows, right? Like no one knows if they're actually magical. They just kind of are the ones who control it. I don't know.
Maybe it's up for debate. Like there's some groups who say, no, these were learned men of science. They knew how the world works. While other more religious factions saw them as like proper magic wielding sorcerers. And who knows which one could be right or wrong? Because how long ago would this have taken place from where we are?
Fucking long time ago. But we can just say Clark's law is bullshit. Or the third law, rather, the one where it's like magic and science is indistinguishable with a high enough tech or whatever. And say, yeah, we don't know what the fuck magic is either. I'm cool with that.
Yeah, I like the idea that there's debate. Like different people have different conceptions of, you know, what's magic, what's science, what are the different like forces at work in the world.
Same. That's really fascinating to me.
All right, cool. I'm up for this.
I also like the idea that there is this sort of capitalist bent to the society because it was mercenaries. So I like to imagine that the privilege of magic or actual magic or any of it is all very tightly held behind this capitalist structure, right? So like the common people, like they have no idea what is the truth or not. They only know that money is power.
This is so relevant.
It's
very relevant.
This is so interesting. And it's like maybe like a lot of common people also don't care because on one hand, like you're kind of living with exploding geysers of fire. So you want to just survive. But also on the other hand, money is power, bro. So
yeah, well, I imagine part of it is just that all you know is that money is power and that's a threat, like when it's around, right? But otherwise you're kind of just fending for yourself, right? So like you know that when this important person with a lot of money comes in, like you better be careful. And that's maybe how, I don't know, but that's a possible approach.
So what is more threatening, the guy with a sack of money or the exploding geyser of fire? We will find out.
There's many threats.
Power is money power? Is power power? As Game of Thrones did say once. Who
All right. Everyone pick playbooks. Now that we're finished with myth creation.
So I had two in mind. I don't mind playing other ones as well, but the two that kind of were at the top of my list, not like strongly at the top of my list, but kind of at the top of my list, were the Beloved and the Spur for me. But did anyone else want to play those particularly? Because I totally don't mind choosing something else. I have like some secondary choices as well. So
I know Leandro wanted to play the Beloved.
okay,
yeah,
that's cool.
Sure.
What about the Spur?
Go for it. Yeah. Is the Spur the one with where you're like leading a militia?
yeah,
That's
that
right.
one.
Yeah.
Yes. So, Leandro, you said you wanted to be the Beloved because you wanted to be a cult leader, right?
Yeah.
So that means we will already have two factions. Well, outside of the, the actual faction thing, we'll already have two groups of people that are going to be bringing trouble, and I really enjoy that.
All right.
What are you thinking, Stunter?
I'm kind of open, seeing what other people are picking here.
Agatha, you were looking at the Spur and the
Fill
Gauntlet,
in.
if I
Yeah,
remember correctly.
but also I think every scup game needs a voice or a crown.
I mean, it makes sense. It's a scup game.
Yeah,
We also never
I could
established
do
that
the crown. I could do that one.
I just wanted to say
Seems like
that
a
we
good one to have
never
in the mix.
established. I'm sorry. I just wanted to say that we never actually established that the monarchy was completely wiped out. Just that it was kind of taken from power. So like it could be a thing still that there is like this monarchy. I don't know.
So they like signed something like the Magna Carta.
No, I kind of like this, and this makes me want to play the crown. I like the idea that the monarchy is still formally in power, like, on paper, but has had to like make so many deals and sign so many treaties with so many different factions that the monarch's hands are actually like almost totally tied in terms of actually exercising any of that power.
Oh my gosh.
Can
Are
we-
you really the queen?
Yeah, so it's like you're the monarch on paper, and everybody like makes a show of deferring to you, but you know that you can't really step out of line, or else everything's gonna fall apart.
Okay, so I think with having the crown, the Spur, and the Beloved, we have literally we have people playbooks in play now, since like the cult, the militia, and the stead. So we're gonna have a lot of fucking NPCs. Just saying, which is fine. I'm fine with that. Agatha, you were looking at something.
Oh yeah, I was looking at the playbooks. I feel like because we've established something so interesting about magic, that makes me want to play like a one of the playbooks that have to do with magic. So we have the Beloved. Here. Maybe I'll just play the Adept. That's a magic-y one. Yeah. Yes. That is what I'm going to be.
Okay, good. All right. We're gonna take a break, but during the break we can work on characters in the character keeper. So, let's come back at the top of the hour. So, be right back. How's character creation going? All right. May I mute you? I think I'm gonna mute you if that's okay, Stentor. All right. Oh, thank you. Sorry.
So are we just making our choices now?
Yeah, I think so. Just create a character whenever you can, and we'll discuss them at when we're done.
Do you want to discuss them when we're done, or do we want to discuss them as we're going so we can kind of work things together?
Either or. I mean, I said the reason I said when we're done is because generally I don't have the bandwidth to type and think and listen at the same time.
Okay.
But that's just me. I don't know about you guys.
Okay.
And I'm GMing. I'm not actually making a character. So if you guys are okay with talking talking about characters as you're going, that's fine. Though I think faction we can discuss that more as we're going. Like I'm thinking more like playbook like moves. You can just type them down now, but like we can talk about factions more because
Okay.
that's like the stuff like you're gonna need to know what when everyone else's factions are. So it's more like that's more of of the talking part. But like the moves you pick, that's fine if you don't say it outright.
Does anyone have an idea of the stats, how those are described? Like
All right.
does the text define them?
Yeah, it's if you keep scrolling down on that same PDF, at the very bottom it has like the basic moves.
So they're pretty much aligned with Apocalypse World itself. Pretty straightforward. Like steady is cool. Fierce is hard. Wily is hot. Sly is sharp. Arcane is weird.
Yeah.
So if you know Apocalypse World stats, you're fine. It's just the names are changed because obviously. Sorry, I re-resized the Wiley Common Rook's character. She just
That's okay. I only changed it before because my look got cut off. That's all. That's all.
yeah. You can also make it wrap, which I did for everyone now that now that I noticed that that was a thing. I will have to change that in the template once we're done with this.
So on here, like one of the options that I can choose for like body is useless body. What does that mean?
It sounds to me like it's a derogatory perspective of maybe like some kind of, marginalizing physical appearance or capability.
Yeah, I will leave that up to interpretation, but I I also find that weird. But what Philip says makes sense. It probably means like you have a physical disability that makes your body not operate like. Or
it could also mean that I've heard that perspective used towards infertility as well. Like if you can't have children, then that awful idea that you're useless if you can't have children. That's just an example.
Strange. And I see that it's different. That description is different for different playbooks.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's like it depends on the playbook. Usually in PBTA, like the idea that the adept itself or themselves rather is doesn't have the fertility part makes sense if you're going from like the Witcher perspective. Like if I remember correctly, the Witcher can't have children because of being a Witcher or something.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. That option.
I don't know how I feel either.
I feel like
so.
it's kind of problematic.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, maybe I'll, because there are so many other like different ones in other playbooks. Just like briefly showing through them, like there's decrepit body, which is nice and evocative in a like creepy way or whatever, and then there's like twisted body, and I feel like a lot of those. Anyway, whatever, it's fine. Well, I'll just not use that one. But
yeah, I would appreciate that. I mean, the fact that broken body is one of the options, I think, kind of implies that it's a disability you got at birth, which is kind of terrible, but whatever.
yeah, I am gonna choose broken body, and it's going to be very specific to this character. I mean, feel free to X card me if like someone's not cool with it. That's totally fine with me.
Yeah, X card is on the table. I'm personally not super disturbed by many things, but like I can X card when needed.
So I think I've got things pretty well worked out, at least as far as, I want to go for, hearing from everybody else.
Same.
Sorry, I missed that because I was reading the Slack. Sorry, repeat that.
I said that I think I've got most of my stuff figured out as far as I want to go before hearing from everybody else.
All right, cool. Makes sense. Oh, it looks like Philip picked the same name as the horse that as for the horse as I did in when I'm playing the Spur in a PvP game. So that's funny. All right. Is everyone else pretty much ready, or do we need a little bit more time?
I got the basics.
I have a question. Is there a name for that style of armor that is like molded to the muscles? Like, do you know?
Well-fitted armor?
No, I'm like thinking like specifically, like I just started playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey and it's like Greco-Roman type stuff. And they wear like that armor that is like shaped like your muscles. Is there like a name for that? I don't know.
The armor that shows your nipples? That kind of thing?
I googled armor molded to muscles, and the first it's called muscle cuirass.
Muscle cuirass. Okay, yeah, that's what I have. I'm going a weird direction with this, so I'm hoping that I'm hoping y'all like it
so much.
Okay, cuirass is an actual type of armor. It's just
right.
Yeah.
It is that one. It is the nipple armor. Okay, I like where this is going already. I just googled it and yes.
Yeah, I'm ready to, I think, discuss things whenever y'all are.
Yeah, I think I'm there. It's just literally just faction that I have to figure out. And okay, actually no, I have to figure out some stuff about my followers.
All right. Okay, so I'm looking at the stats and steady is okay. But generally speaking, good balance. Which, to be fair, it's not super necessary in this game and just amusing. Alright. I'm sorry, eyes. Ugh. Are we ready? Oh, Rook needs moves.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm a little behind.
It's fine.
Okay.
It's okay, but you got the most important thing down, which is the skin tight armor.
Yes.
Yeah, my sexy muscle cuirass with nipples.
Yes.
I've got it down pat. All right. So is this like I get all the basic peripheral honor moves plus leader of the pack and one additional spur move. So I just choose one of these ones at the bottom of my playbook.
Yes. Yeah, and then basically put the leader of the pack and yeah, leader of the pack and then one more from that list. Everything else is just basic moves and shit. So Oh, and you do get your horse. Though you already put that there. God. The actual character sheet says sexy muscle curious with nipples.
I told you.
Spiked rod. That's not.
Is
Hey, it's
everything
just
a metaphor now?
Sure, I don't know.
I mean, I've heard stories about Philip's playstyle from Philip actually, so this is not super surprising.
What
But
story?
okay, something about dressed and undressing or whatever. We can talk about that later.
Should we expect to see a sexy muscle Cuirass in like session 4 or something?
I mean, it's already in session 1, so
Okay.
like it's there. It's on the character sheet. It's canon now.
Oh my god, it's gonna be a dramatic moment when they take off the cuirass and we see if it matches underneath.
No, the cuirass is just transparent.
Oh, it matches. I have a striking body, okay? All right.
Oh, and leader of the pack also has some options to pick from, like, so you might want to put that on your character sheet as well. Sorry for just putting this late. Saying this
no, I
late.
got it.
You're basically the chopper from Apocalypse World. So
Okay.
okay.
All right. I'm just working on the options.
Oh, I was gonna ask if it's okay to start talking, or if you wanna just you want us to wait a little bit more.
I think I'm good, actually. I think I'm good to go. Unless I need to have like I didn't even look at like patron and stuff. Do I need to have that picked out now too? Or
No, patron. Let's talk
okay.
about that with factions.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I think otherwise I'm good. I just had to pick out my options for my pack, I guess.
Yeah, that's fine. All right. I'm guessing you have 2 armor, or
Oh, me?
yes.
Yeah, my sexy muscle cuirass with nipples is 2 armor.
Okay, cool. And then you start with 1 or 2 barter.
A 1.
1. XP honor. You also start with 1, I think. Yeah. Oh, 1 or 2, depending on how you describe your character. Agatha, you start with how much barter and honor?
Oh, sorry. I was busy creating my magical object, which hates me.
Oh, right, that thing.
Literally, that is
That
my.
sounds
Yes.
awesome.
I love it so much. I feel like the tone may be for a different game, but no, it's okay. We got it. Let me just give me like one hot second while I go and
Okay.
read that.
Okay, do that.
I have a pack full of oddments worth 1 barter. Man, I'm poor.
And I'm guessing 1 honor unless you are famous or something.
I don't know if like. Do you
It's
automatically get 1 armor? I don't think I
honor.
have any armor.
Honor.
Oh, honor. Oh, where does this say that?
It's under the
Oh yes, I
under
start with
the
honor 1.
and then you can have more honor if you're noble, famous, rich, whatever. All
Okay.
right. In that case, I think we can move on. Unless you did you make your object that hates you?
Yeah, yep. I am ready to put it into my entry.
All right, cool.
I don't know what it is
And
yet.
and I'm guessing the crown only has the crown because you can pretty much have anything.
Yeah, it says you start out with pretty much whatever you want within reason. And so I don't even know, like, there's no options to pick from. I'm not even sure what that all would be. So I
Anything.
figure we
pretty
can just
much.
kind of, rather than trying to like list everything that I might have, we can just kind of wing it, if that's okay. And be
Yeah.
like, if there's something you think that the ruler would probably have, I'll have it.
All right.
You know, basic things.
Makes sense. All right. We are ready to introduce, right?
Yep.
Okay, cool. From left to right, Leandro, tell us about Miranda.
Uh, yeah, okay. I'll give the basic gist. Basically, my idea for Miranda was that she was from a sort of noble or rich family. She's quite young, and she was doted upon by her family, very well-to-do family. Like it's not fully formed yet, but she kind of discovered something. You know how you're young and you're new to a lot of things, and you discover something that kind of unlocks the world for you in such a rich and vibrant way, and you just think, it gets me. This this thing. I think well, what she found was like these old religious texts that talked of a murmuring underneath the miasma, like whatever the miasma is coming from, there's something there that's actively producing it just by existing there, and it's kind of in the miasma you can hear whispers of it or murmurs of it. So there's this old religious sect dedicated to figuring out these murmurs. It's kind of like a half religious order, half scientific study group. They're like, all right, yeah, we got to figure out what these things are saying, and they've died out since. But Miranda kind of like was enthralled by it, and so she's recently trying to start up this cult to start off and decipher it. And it's kind of like she's because of that she's kind of become the black sheep of her family. She's kind of like, no, I don't need you. I'm gonna go start my cult with my buddies, and she's only started, so that's why it took one of the things to get her as one move is that she actually doesn't have that many followers, like 8. They're kind of only growing so far, and so Miranda's kind of like dedicated. She's how you think you discovered what your life's course is going to be, and you're going to dedicate everything to it. You're just going to focus on it. And that's what she's kind of doing at the moment. Like that's the basic gist I have for her. Like any more specific stuff, I will note them down. Like we're family from. I think no, that's not her faction, but like yeah, that's kind of like the basic idea for her. She's kind of like this she came from privilege, found something, and decided that's her thing now. And I mean, because the beloved playbook is that the Unspeakable Power does find it does exist. I think she did find what she was looking for, and she kind of, in a way, thinks that she can figure it out because that's part of what her group is trying to do. They're very much on the alchemist side of the debate on where the sorcerers from the unknown were sorcerers or very smart people, and she kind of thinks she's a very smart person.
So, which is, oh, your Wiley is high, not your Slido, but she thinks, yeah.
Yeah,
um,
she thinks she's wily.
to be fair, I do like that origin story of like she was noble, but then she became religious. That's kind of what happened to Siddhartha Gautama, right? The Buddha. So
Yeah,
that's a
so.
and so that's a good non-Western thing, I guess. So let's go to Agatha.
Okay, I'm just gonna ask the group this because I had an idea for what the magical object is, but then I'm also like, maybe that's a little too gonzo. I was like, hey, a magical glass eye question mark. But what do y'all think?
I love it.
I understand this is a sexy game, so I don't know how great that fits.
A glass eye can be sexy. I mean,
Thank you. I see this is a non-kink shaming group. I like it. Glass eye it is. So Severin is her pronoun is they them. They the kind of the words that I chose to describe their look is ambiguous with elaborate robes. We can establish what that looks like. A bony face, shimmering eyes, one of which shimmers a little more than the other, and broken body, which I think has a lot to do with the magic that Severin is practicing. And it's I think it's broken in that Severin is addicted to it, basically. The unspeakable power. So if they're not like communing or, doing something that uses it, have it coursing through their body, then they will go through withdrawal. So it's like, but like using it is also taxing. So that's what I mean when I say broken body. So I think they're just like, you can't really tell what their body shape actually is because they're wearing layers of robes, but underneath it, they're probably like pretty skinny and like, has some like unfortunate signs of what an addict often looks like. And they're an adept. I feel like I want to say that there's some kind of like court mage, court technician. I don't know what name sorcerer we're gonna come up with for them. And we can also decide like if the unspeakable power that Severin uses is actually magic, or what does that look like? What does that mean? What kind of scientific explanation we can give for it? They have a magical object, which is again that glass eye. It looks like an eye, and it does two things. One is it lets me view things remotely. So like once per session, I can study a situation on a scene I'm not currently in. And also it lets me see into people's hearts. So once per session, I can study a person. I can on someone I know, but am not in sight of. But it hates me. So every time I have to make a persuade with leverage roll against the object to make it comply, treating it like an NPC that only talks to me. I don't have a name for it yet, but I will come up with it. Yeah, they're kind of like, I think they're pretty mild-mannered. My fierce is -2, so just kind of have that like, what does a fierce -2 person look like? That's whatever you think of is probably accurate. And is kind of always looks like they're floating around wherever they're employed in their like copious amount of fabric. And looks maybe a little lost all the time, which may or may not be on purpose.
And it may not be accurate as well. So
Yeah, sometimes they actually are.
all right, cool. Let's go on to Stentor's character.
Okay, so I'm the crown, and so I went with generous as my, not exactly my name, like my title. I'm envisioning that's what the ruler is always called, kind of evoking the idea of, you know, the feudal lord that bestows gifts on all of their subjects, and so nobody knows or says my like personal name anymore, and I've been in power for so long that most people that might have known that are gone anyway, because I'm extremely old, and excuse me, and so what I'm envisioning is that I have one daughter who is like a couple years shy of being able to like take the throne in her own right. And so my big motivation right now is to hang on to power long enough that we avoid like a regency kind of situation, because, you know, going with that whole thing of like, I'm kind of a ceremonial ruler, but I, you know, owe all these debts to all kinds of different factions to remain. You know, I don't trust what would happen if someone other than, you know, the actual heir were actually on the throne. So I'm kind of trying to hang on and pull enough strings until she can take the throne. So, but because I myself am pretty old. You know, I had my daughter when I was pretty advanced in years. Maybe I had some other children earlier on that, you know, have passed away or something. And so I got a whole bunch of stuff about the community. Should I go through what I was picking for that as well? So that's kind of wrapped into my move that's like pre-checked here. So also, and also I should describe what I look like besides just being old. So I'm envisioning that I have sort of ceremonial robes and a crown that is like 4 sets of antlers that kind of make this like halo around my head, like reindeer antlers. And then, okay, so for the community here, they're calling it a stead in the on the playbook. So it says, by default, your stead is medium-sized. You subsist on a mix of hunting and agriculture. And you have a small armory of average quality weapons and armor, and an army you can call on to defend the stead. So then my kind of positive choices that I picked was, and you know, anybody can like veto these because I know these kind of affect the community as a whole, but I was thinking that we have a large population. We engage in raiding for additional income, and we have a bustling market. But then on the negative side, I was picking out your stead owes protection tribute, because we have, you know, various mercenary kind of organizations that we have to pay off, and my armory is poor. So, you know, the soldiers that work directly for me aren't very good or very well armed, which is why I have to have all these kind of you know, connections and deals to keep things together.
All right, that's cool. So now Philip, tell us about your character.
Yeah, so Rook is the leader of the Paramours, who were the last faction to join the mercenary groups and overthrow the power. We were the boy whores of the royalty of the court, and we made a deal with the other mercenary groups to help them secure their path to power. And yeah, and part of the deal was that we had to take up arms and fight as well, because of our numbers in the like inner sanctums. And so we became a warrior group at that point, and we've been warriors ever since, and still kind of also man whores, but both. And yeah, so that's kind of where we've been at. We've been one of these, strong mercenary groups in this area since. We took to I think I chose one of my things was that our horses aren't crappy. So I think that there's like some stable boy crossover. And yeah. That's us. I am Rook. I am the leader, and I'm a man. I've got a flashy cloak, bony face, narrow eyes, a striking body, which I adorn with my sexy muscle cuirass. I think it's like gold or something, right? And I've got like my beautiful embroidered silk hooded cloak, and yeah, I'm armed with a chain sling that I can sling like little metal balls at people, and I also have a spiked rod, which I use to great effect when I so choose. And my horse is a huge bucking animal beast named Dreadnought, and yeah, he can pretty much take anything. So yeah, a credit to the hard work of our stable boys, for sure.
All right. So one done really. All right, makes sense. Center, if you can put a note on heavies they had to with your tags, that'd be awesome. To I don't know, just right click and insert note. All right. Let's talk factions and possible patrons. As far as I know, the only one that kinda has a patron is Rook, because you all picked options that don't have patrons, like the Crown, and the Magic users don't have patrons usually. So
I have a patron.
Oh, you have a patron?
Well, I don't have to, but I'm choosing to have a patron.
Wait, do you have the option to take a patron?
Yes.
Because you don't have a patron move, right?
Okay, let me double check. I thought I did, but okay, now I'm second guessing myself. Let's see.
I don't see a patron move, because the patron move will let you
What?
Yeah, the Magic users don't have patrons for whatever reason.
Yo. Okay. Well, all right. I guess I'm free. Free as a bird. That's what I am.
Technically, you have your faction to steal a piece, but let's talk about the one patron. I guess. Rook, do you have an idea?
No, I have no idea. So let's get into it.
Oh, and by the way, PCs can be patrons.
Someone who's my lord.
Can I be your patron? Can that work, or does it have to be the crown? Like,
I just have to read the description so I know what I'm talking about.
Well, it can be any PC, honestly.
So here's what it says. It says the spur may be the captain of someone's guard or the leader of a militia that works for someone. The spur must roll plus fierce at the beginning of each session to see how the relationship with their patron is doing. And I guess there's some patron rules. Without the patron, the Spur and their militia are independent mercenaries, bandits, or etc. Oh man, you know, Agatha, if I'm your characters, if you're my character, if your character is the patron of the paramours, maybe
Yes.
we're like your protection or something.
Yeah, I'm starting to see Severn as this like, oh, I'm just a silly magic user. What do I know? And then secretly it's like, yes, I'm gonna take over. I don't know if that's actually gonna happen. But yeah, you could just be my protection. Or literally my protection.
Because we're all in this like the same place, right? So yeah, like maybe you like made some deal with us before the start, and we don't know yet what you paid. Like that's part of the mystery that we'll find out is what you paid us to get our services, to secure our services. So we can play to find out what that is, maybe.
Maybe this is why I only have one barter at the beginning.
Yeah, I don't know.
By the way, I did post the patron move on the chat if you want to take a look. Which is only relevant to the Spur at the moment. So let's talk factions.
All right. Is this another sheet in the Keeper? Am I like needing to scroll?
Yeah. Well, that's on the playbooks. It's on the playbooks. Near the end, there's a factions worksheet on page 26. And
you know what's really funny is that it says pick a kind of group. I thought it said kindly pick a group at first. So do we all do this?
Yeah, every character has a faction they're aligned to. Because otherwise you have no honor.
This is aside from my own group, right?
Yeah, this is separate from the militia. This is just here's a faction in the whatever in the world that is important, and you're aligned with them because otherwise you have no honor and you are socially defunct or something.
So do we have like a space for this on our Keeper?
There's a.
Oh, I see it. Sorry, I'm just like.
There is a faction
I'm like so.
Right under stats, yes.
Right there, yeah. Okay. So let me pitch this to y'all. Now I had established that like my little group was kind of changed sides and like helped out the mercenaries. What if there was like a like mercenary house or something, like some kind of body that represents that alliance of mercenary groups that came together to form a faction and do this thing.
Like a union?
Like a union.
The union. The union. Yes, that's it. And
so I'm guessing
like,
it's a guild. Because if it's a union, it's a guild.
Like an armed
well, I'm gonna
union?
call it. It's gonna be the new union in opposition to the crown union about like marriage and stuff like that. So it's the new union. I'm just like spewing out stuff right now.
I think kind is guild because it's professional? Question mark.
Does it matter? Is that just color or?
I mean, it just lets me know like what they're leaning towards. Like if you say ring, then I know. Hey, this is highly illegal.
No, they're totally a ring. I mean, they overthrew the power. I feel like
Okay,
it's
then
got to be
fine.
something like that, right? Like they were like mercenaries and like bandits and well, I guess prostitutes who came together. It's kind of
Yeah.
what we established.
Okay, makes sense. Social status, which is
They're totally noble now.
I mean, makes sense.
They were outlaws, but now they're
Yeah. Now they are the
part of the
ruling class.
ruling class. Right. Yeah. Either that or honored. Maybe honored would be better.
Yeah, it makes sense because you still have the figurehead, so.
Right, yeah.
And then you pick 2 benefits from the honored faction list. And let's talk about the other ones, since I see Severn has Sir's business.
Yeah. I don't know if I was gonna ask everyone as well. So Severn is a part of, tentatively named, the Scar Research Society, which is a clique because I just want Severn to be a part of a clique. But anyway, I like when I said Scar, I meant like the fire geysers. Do we want a different name for that? It could be just the whatever research society, but it's up to y'all what we want to call it.
I'm fine with
I think it
Scar.
sounds good.
Cool. Yeah, that's what Severn is a part of. It's, I don't know if I actually want to choose honored. Well, I feel like there's just no way that it's, because it's like a research group. So probably is, it's okay. So my other benefit is probably like wealth, because I think it's very well financed by a lot of different interest groups, and then people like really want to know how to harness the scars or how to like tame the scars, either or.
Agatha, can I pitch something to you?
Agatha, I love. First, I want to mention how I love that knowledge is not one of the benefits. Instead, it's rumors.
Yeah, because it's a clique. We're socializing. And what were you gonna say, Philip?
So maybe this deal that could have been made wasn't between like you and me. It was maybe between maybe like my faction and you, or my faction and your faction. And maybe it's like we were assigned to it. And so they assigned you like the,
oh my gosh,
the exotic mercenary group instead of like a more formidable looking mercenary group or something.
Yeah, they're like, yeah, the paramours, you know. And then someone's like, oh, okay. that
but there's like, but behind the scenes machinations with the new union, working out this deal, right?
Yeah. So, and that's how Severn gets a group of sex workers as bodyguards.
Hey, we're legit warriors, okay?
Sex warriors. Just instead of sex workers, sex warriors. Anyways, House of the Elk, Stentor, can you elaborate?
Yeah, so I figure, I mean, the obvious faction for me to have is the kind of, royal family, basically. So, and the elk refers to, you know, the crown is like the deer horns. So, and then I have status because we're still officially, you know, at least on paper, running the show, and rumors because, you know, I have to kind of work behind the scenes to keep things that way. You know, I can't do a lot of kind of overt shows of power because then that might kind of expose that there's not a lot behind that.
All right. So I guess Laguna family is
Yeah, that's basically Miranda's family. I think I changed my mind a bit that they haven't excommunicated or disowned her. It's more like, oh, she's going through a phase, so she'll probably grow out of it, maybe. But yeah, the family Laguna, they're wealthy traders. Like they're not royalty, but they know how to make deals. They know which. It's like not sure what they trade in yet. I'd like to say like transport or something. Like they have know-how on like how to get through the wastes. That's what makes them good at getting like goods and services from outside where we are. And yeah, so that's why. And so that's why I guess they're kind of noble. But yeah, and benefits are wealth. Is they're rich. That's how Miranda can afford to have her weirdo study group.
also you can raise your honor by one since you
Oh,
are
yes.
noble.
Yeah, it's wealth and
Because
status. So people are kind of like almost forced to take her seriously, even though like they have reason not to.
all right, cool. I think that's. Oh wait, relationships now. We can actually go to relationships, which is pick two of the relationships on your playbook and assign characters to them. So, whoever wants to go first?
I was thinking I was sorry to delay a little bit. I was thinking I might change my status to outlaw just so I could pick some different things than folks because we already have a lot of. I feel like we already have
Makes
wealth on the
sense.
table, right? It's like we're heavy in that first category, so I might just outlaw and do like vice and dirty work, maybe.
Sure. Makes sense. I mean, it's kinda outlawed, kinda the ones running the show, so it makes sense.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I was kind of trying to choose something that other people didn't have as well. So I went with magic, even though I don't think they provide.
I'll do
magic.
secrecy and dirty work. I feel like what we established is like secrecy happening, right? So
Yeah. Okay, then I'll change my benefits to rumors. I've got to keep the rumors and power.
All right. So yeah, let's go to relationships now, which is there's a list of 3 options on your character sheet. Pick 2 and assign players. Unfortunately, I'm patron of the Paramours JK. It's actually the SRS. It's not a relationship on the list. You can put that on the patron if you want to keep that thing, though.
Okay, I'll put it there then. Oh.
okay, sorry, I'm confused a little bit. So, are we doing the relationships now?
Yes,
Okay.
which is how you view the other characters, kind of.
Oh, okay. All right.
Like they don't they don't have any mechanical effect. It's just flavor, but we gotta do them. So let's start with whoever has any ideas.
Yeah, I'll go first, and I'll kind of throw this out here to see who wants to pick up on it. because one of mine is, you fear I know the sorts of things you get up to. And I feel like that could apply to any of you. Whoever wants to have the most like contentious relationship with the crown. So I feel like you all have things you get up to that you might not want the ruler to know about. So I don't know if anybody wants to volunteer for that.
Wait, can you repeat that again?
It says, you fear I know the sorts of things you get up to.
Okay, because I have one that I was actually gonna hand to you,
Okay.
which is, you have seen me do great and terrible things with my power, but I don't know if that fits? Question mark.
Yeah, I mean, I think that one. What have I seen? What have you done that's great and terrible?
I think it's probably like experiments with the scar.
Okay.
In service of the society, the clique that I belong to. Things with people. It's very unethical. They were not told that, the nature of the experiments.
Oh, we're just gonna experiment on people for the sake of a click. No biggie.
Yeah.
My clique is my life. But actually, though.
Yeah, makes sense. At least to me as MC. What do you guys think?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I guess Generous has seen me do terrible things with my power. Let's go around the table. Miranda, do you have a relationship?
Let's see. No more than 3 options. Okay. I listen to you when no one else would. But really only fits Severn. Because, I mean, who would the crown or Rook have anything to say to this kind of haughty cult leader anyway? But probably because I guess we're both magic users. There should be some sort of kinship.
Well, the I listen to you when no one else would is that Miranda listened to Severn, right?
Yeah, yeah. Okay, maybe not. Actually, maybe not that, because I don't think Miranda's the type to listen to people, honestly. Uh, the other two are more like other characters reacting to her, really. You have encountered me and fear it.
I think anyone except Severn can take that.
Yeah.
Actually, I think I would love to take that one.
Oh,
Okay.
like you are afraid of actual magic then.
There's
That makes
something
sense.
different about it. Something not right.
It's legit magic.
It's coming from an it, whatever that it is.
All right. Then we have Rook. Pick someone and something.
Okay. I think that the crown has dreamt of riding with my militia and I. In a fashion.
Oh wait, yes. That is the most subverted way to think of that.
Yeah. And I mean, we could say nobody knows who the father of my daughter is, so
Amazing. Sure. Okay. Let's go back around, I guess. Generous. You're muted.
Okay, so the other one, you see me as an opportunity for a better life. I was kind of thinking of giving that one to Miranda. So I'm thinking like if you've got kind of this tense relationship with your family, and that maybe kind of like, you know, finding a place in the royal court might be, you know, a way to kind of sort out your life.
Yeah, I was actually thinking. I was looking. I was thinking, that would be good for Miranda because, yeah, I think maybe that's how generous is. But the way Miranda says is that if I convert generous and have the crown, believing in my bullshit, really.
Yeah, yeah.
I think maybe generous sees that as like, okay, and that maybe look after this person is clearly ostracized because she's going through a thing, but Miranda's just kind of see, yeah, yeah, that's why she sees the crown as an opportunity for a better life, as in her current life right now can expand because her cult is small at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it could. Yeah, of course. Who knows what happens there? But
yeah, and I'm kind of like reaching out to you because I'll kind of take whatever I can get in terms of supporters, and you know, you're kind of in a vulnerable position, so if I can kind of bring you under my wing, and if you've got your kind of followers, that might help shore up my position a bit.
Very cool.
And, you know, maybe your family maybe is not my biggest fan, and so
yeah,
you know, I can.
maybe because they're a guild. They see government as like just gonna get in our way, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
We determined capitalism destroyed this world. So
All right. Severn, your second relationship.
Okay, so I chose You Think Me Wise and Sagely because I think there's just something really ironic about it that I enjoy. But and I feel like this one is with you, Rook, I think, because I've had a connection with everyone else. But I'm going to offer you the other one as well, which is You Want to Be Like Me, maybe more than you realize. Which I can't see how that can be a case.
It's going to be the other one. It's going to be the Sagely one. Is that what it is?
Yeah, You Think Me Wise and Sagely. Like how? In what situation did that happen?
Well, we have no idea what all this stuff is that you do. So it's more of just like a certain awe at all this crazy science magic stuff that you do.
I see.
Like, I think that we see it as like important work, right? Like the way that the orders were handed down to us was that like this is serious.
Yeah.
And so like I think we think it's serious, but in reality, like they probably just threw us at you because we're the Paramours.
Serious SRS. That's right. Oh my gosh, my society is the worst. Okay. Yeah, so I think it's definitely a false first impression that you have where you think me wise and sagely, and I'm sure that will shatter as the game goes on.
That's delicious. Okay, cool. So Miranda, what's your second relationship?
you have heard me speak my love for it, and were moved. And I think I was thinking more like how would this come up? I very much think Miranda would be the type to try and get attention at like a bar or like not a bar, tavern. We have taverns. No, that's like a gathering place. Should definitely be the type to try and preach to the masses in a very loud way. There might be some theatrics, not smoke. Well, not theatrics, but like, gee, okay, we can have taverns or pubs. It's a big difference. But yeah, I think in a public place, Miranda's had a chance to like speak her beliefs about the murmuring, and maybe some people noticed, some people didn't. I'm not sure exactly who would it be.
We can
Like-
keep going with the theme that Rook is easily odd, and we can have it be Rook, I think. But I don't know.
That works for me. If you weren't gonna choose me for one, then I was gonna choose you for one. So this is good.
Okay.
Yeah. That makes my next choice easy.
All right.
So I think that you've had these wonderful mercenary paramours assigned to you, but you've seen me bully someone weaker than me. I keep forgetting your character's name, Severn. So you've seen that it's not all, rainbows and sunshine with us.
Okay, what did you do? Come on.
Yeah. Oh man, maybe it was like someone in like my faction, or not in my faction, in my paramours group. Maybe you saw me being like a bit of a, I don't know, pimp sort of character with them. Something awful like that, right?
So we're bringing back what's his face from Masks.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, I don't know.
Was there like crying involved?
Oh, gosh.
Yeah. That's right.
I feel like there has to be. For it to have made such a like impression with you, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Interesting.
Like it was a notable. It wasn't just like I was chiding someone. It was like something more serious.
Yeah, maybe you were humiliating them in some way.
Oh, that's it. Yeah, that's it. It was humiliation. Yeah. They didn't get the payment afterwards.
So what I'm imagining, and feel free to expert this, is something like how guys are kind of mean to each other, but society wants them to be mean to each other because that's how men should be, kind of like that. That's how I'm imagining it. I'm not sure if you are going by the same vein. Like,
I think this sounds to me more like it's like some kind of sexual humiliation.
You know what it is part of our status, since we kind of became part of this new ring, is that we had like the power to do our work with like more dignity. And so I think part of our status is that our bodies are reserved for, like the high clientele work that we choose to do. And yeah, they were forced to go without their clothes in public, which is like, for our group, it's like really like, I mean, in addition to the normal and connotation of that.
Okay. Yeah, that is a lot. Okay.
It's like getting a huge like disadvantage in the group, right? Because like the public is going to be like, oh, well, we've seen what's hiding under that golden cuirass.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
They were forced to like expose their goods, basically.
Okay. I kind of want to also repeat the line of for sexual assault. So whatever is this does not count in my mind as it, even though it kind of maybe could. But it doesn't count in my mind as it.
I feel like in the minds of these characters, it's not like a sexual thing. It's like a career thing, right? Like it's like, damn it, like opportunities I'm not going to get now is probably where the paramours' minds are at. Because I mean, let's be real, they're not shy. But that's where my thinking is going with it. I don't know. Does anyone want me to like rewind and we can go a different direction?
I'm fine with that. I just wanted to bring up that line as well because
Yeah,
I'm not sure how people are feeling right now with the whole let's expose our bodies and humiliate people that way. But if we're still on board, then I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I think the way you put it is like, I'm cool with that. That level of humiliation in an NPC.
All right. I think with that we are done with character creation. Unfortunately, we only have 45 minutes left, so I think I'm gonna end it here. So thank you for playing and thank you for participating. I will stop the broadcast now.